Have you communicated with a social media user who goes by the name ThATuMBRELLAgUY?
I've had several phone calls with the person who goes by the name ThATuMBRELLAgUY. Don't actually know his real name.
And unfortunately, every time I make a call, it becomes content for them.
Help! I've been tossed overboard.
I'll have to bill you extra for my time.
Welcome to the show. You look incredible, like a dessert that owns a yacht.
That's exactly the vibe I was going for. You know, sweet but slightly out of your tax bracket.
Mission accomplished. How does one even shop for a suit when your head is...
Gold on my neck, gold on my hand, purple with the stripes, that's the walk of a man. Sidewalk shining, city lights humming, every step I take, they know a boss is.
Blazing the whip, gotta vanquish the needs. My kingdom for some poppy seeds, yo.
Police or zombie problems? Your tortoise won't stop breakdancing?
Try blue tape.
The miracle of our age. Yay!
Hey, we love that umbrella guy. All right. Thank you.
I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem under the name ThATuMBRELLAgUy. I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat. Told him to call me. He ignored me. I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me. I'm a man.
You know what? I talked to your mayor.
When I was young, it seemed that life was so wonderful. A miracle, oh, it was beautiful. When I was young, it seemed that life was so wonderful. A miracle, oh, it was beautiful. When I was young, it seemed that life was so wonderful. A miracle, oh, it was.
Yeah, it's T.U.G. That umbrella guy. You picked the wrong storm. 2 times on the docket. Used to lane learn. You kept running to the court. I just let it burn. You was barking on the phone. All that tough talk threatened. Now you looking at the floor like judge. I'm just stressing. You swing wild. I parry that. Turn it to a meme. You gamble with your rep. I'm cashing out on the stream. You said you'd end me. Now you trim me. You a car crash clip. I rewind it in 4K HD. You hate the channel cause the truth don't bend. You ain't a rival. You a cautionary tale I pen. You said you wrecked me, but I wrecked you worse. You tried to cancel, now you stuck replaying this verse. 2 times ain't enough for you. Keep suing cause you're scared of the truth. That umbrella guy gon' shine right through. You call it war, I call it views. She crazy, 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 yeah, that's so news. Crazy, crazy, yeah, that's so news. 2 times ain't enough for you. Yeah. You was yelling at the screen, veins popping in your neck, talking big, talking bold, but your story don't connect. You a late night rant, I'm a documented fact. You a tantrum in a tweet, I'm receipts in the stack. You said I'll ruin you, I said bet cool. Now the judge looking sideways, who really the fool? You keep threatening in the dark, I just flipped the switch. You a star of your own breakdown, welcome to the glitch. Mic drop, every time that I quote show lies. You keep spinning, I keep winning, watch the view count rise. You call me villain, but I'm still chilling. You the one scribbling in threads like that's some kind of living. 2 times ain't enough for you. Keep suing cause you scared of the truth. That umbrella guy gon' shine right through. You call it war, Crazy, 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 yeah, that's old news. Crazy, 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 yeah, that's old news. 2 times ain't enough for you. 2 times ain't enough for you. 2 times ain't enough for you. You threatened my name, I turned it to fame. You play with the flame, got torched by the game. You keep coming back, same move, same rage. I just flip that page, let the ad money rage. 2 times ain't enough. 2 times ain't enough.
What's up, baby? How's it going today? Yeah. You know, and I noticed this weird thing with StreamYards now. It doesn't give me a counter for around at least a minute. So with the intros, I can't time how long they are. Usually I time them. And now I can't time them exactly because it does this weird thing. You'll have so many people waiting. Like say we have 600 people waiting, right? It'll go in and it knocks that number down to like 400 or something. And then it climbs it back up. It's the weirdest process, but it doesn't time while it's doing that anymore. I have no idea why it does that, but it's a very strange thing. So if intros, if they ever seem any longer, it's just because I can't time them as much. You know, I'm thinking about just building in one block, uploading it, and then just playing that so I know how long it is. Oh, what's up though? How is it going? So the last day has been wild. It has been very wild. We had last night, we had 2L and Leslie Federigo's. Leslie Federigo's threatening. Now she's being sued, by the way. As you well know, she is in a lawsuit because she sued other people with garbage lawsuits, dropped them, put us back in. I mean, you probably heard that by now, right? Well, as retaliation, she has been reporting everybody to the authorities, to the IRS. I mean, it is absolutely unreal. And she's sitting around bragging about it, which that's probably not the smartest move in the world. I would say if you're going to try this type of retaliation, you probably shouldn't talk about things like, I think Megan and Tug need to be reported to the IRS for an audit of their YouTube channels. I intend to do it. That's retaliation for litigation. Now, this stuff is being done while the channel that they are talking about is talking about suing Megan. I mean, this is the epitome of harassment. The epitome of it. But remember, these people are victims. In fact, while they were live streaming last night, funny enough, they were talking about building up their moolah to go after and serve Megalodon's foe. In fact, here's Leslie talking about Lisa needs to pay a filing fee for her lawsuit against Megan. It'll cost $400. So if we make a small donation, Lisa, please set the money aside to pay your filing fee. Oh, well, you know what's funny, though? Why would you assume it would go for that? Holy shit. Now, like I've said, Megan, they know Megan does not want to get into a lawsuit. Like some people are like, let's go, baby. Like me, I'm like, you ain't gonna threaten me. Let's go. Let's roll. Right. But I mean, Megan obviously doesn't, but that doesn't mean she won't. There's some fun stuff with that. There's some really fun stuff. But all of this stinks to high heaven of retaliation. Now, while all of this is going on, the last few days, you have Lynette, who is just having a meltdown over the last few days. In fact, funny enough, did you know she thinks that there is a person spying on her at the post office? Yeah, that's right. She thinks there is a spy at the post office that is keeping up with everything that she puts into filings. And that's how Hales knows about certain things when they come up. I'm not even kidding. Oh my God. She also, she is talking about, she has been flagging channels from Go too and trying to take them down. In fact, she admitted this the other night. She admitted that here's her and John Cook discussing this very thing. No, thank you. Yes, grifting for $400. Yes, that's right. If you would like to help out the channel, by the way, yes, they had they were trying to get $400 for filing fees. Now, the funny thing about that is that's just for one thing, They're wanting to, it sounds like, file some kind of pro se garbage lawsuit, which, there's many ways. I'm not even going to talk about how to fight that when it comes up, because there'll be all kinds of fun. But they are going to step into something that, woo, baby, that will be ugly. Like I said, they come after me. I've already talked about the claims. Like, I will hit them with. Again, I will talk about them making claims of just insane. I got a writer coming in a second.
What's up?
Hey, how's it going? You feeling better today?
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody wasn't feeling good last. Hey, you need to be resting, not running around. Come in. If you're wanting to do anything this weekend, you have got to get rest.
Everyone.
Someone
put a chocolate emoji.
See, she sounds all stopped up, aren't you? You sound a little stoppy, don't you?
Yeah.
You feeling better, though?
You know what we do.
You feeling a little better?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, go rest for real. Listen, go get you some rest, okay?
Hey, everyone. Have a good day.
All right. Everybody will have a good day. And you go. Yeah, she's giving you a little heart, too. She makes a heart with her hands. So.
Hello.
All right. Well, go.
That was for me.
No, go rest, man. If you don't rest, you're not going to be able to do anything. Okay? Because you're just getting over her. She's not been feeling good, but she's on the rebound, and you can tell because she's starting to get that energy back. Yeah. All right. Love you. Go lay down. All right. She was running a fever about 2 nights ago. That was the night that we had Keto Brains Molly on. We were talking to her. I was doing my stuff, but I was taking care of her off and on through it, tucking her in, doing stuff. She was resting, but she'd been feeling really ill. Man, I gotta grab something real quick. 1 second. I think I left it across the room. Oh Lord. How am I supposed to have a live stream with no video game? Sorry, I left my most important streaming tool on the other side of the room. I left my video game over there. Oh my Lord. So, but the little one is feeling better, thankfully. Now, oh my goodness. I had a doctor's appointment today too. So, man, my legs looked at. Whew. Thank you, Andre. I'll note that to her, my friend. Oh, I'm okay, but man, I've been having my legs looked at as, part of all of that crazy that went on back when I had the blood vessels in my legs get busted up, and I had to have them looked at today. Oh, no fun. No fun at all. It's no fun also sitting in a doctor's office for 4 freaking hours. That sucks. Man. But I heard some interesting stuff too today. I heard Ray went to Otter Creek. He put up a video. There was some discussion about it. That was kind of interesting, right? Otter Creek. Marla was like, come back anytime. Oh my God. We can go to my favorite fishing spot. Holy crap. Oh man, this clown show. I never get sick of this clown show. I love it. I absolutely love it. I do. No matter what, no matter the threats or the madness or the stupid. Like you can tell, that's another thing. I think they can tell sometimes. Megan's like, man, these idiots, I don't know how to do. I just roll with the idiots. I don't care. But here is Lynette Preston noting that she and John Cook have been false flagging channels from Go. Isn't that interesting, by the way? I also have been turning them in for using my likeness, talking about my child defamation slander. My child defamation slander? Wait, talking about your child defamation slander? That sounds like you should really think about how you type these things, Lynette, because the way that breaks, it looks like it's saying that people are talking about you defaming and slandering your child, which I'm sure that's not what you meant, but that's how that reads. Okay. So when you're going in, you should probably make that sound better. By the way, as you should be well aware, you've already brought a garbage lawsuit about thumbnail likeness. Again, thumbnail likeness. You have very well. You're still talking about these cases. You go out every day and talk about it every single day, and you're talking about firing up a YouTube. In fact, she just made a statement talking about if she gets 1,000 subscribers, she'll start making YouTube videos, which is totally fine. You know, she says, I'll put my truth out. Cool. Put your truth out. I want to see it. You know, now remember, your truth is not the truth. It is, that is not what my truth means. You know, I hate it when people use that. In fact, I'll tell you my truth. Well, there's only one truth, but she says that, and Marla is like, oh, good, Michelle. Oh, you can do legal process since you're in a lawsuit with him. Bypass regular reporting, go a legal route. Oh, yeah. So she's encouraging through this. They have been encouraging Michelle Preston to send cease and desist. Please send me a cease and desist, Michelle. Please send me a cease and desist. Please, God, do it. I will remind you that your lawyer actually sent me an email and asked me to cover. In fact, the email was really interesting in the fact, well, here, let me see if I can find it real fast. The lawyer asked me to cover and talk about how the child looked happy in the presence of Lynette Preston. So he asked me to come. Now, for myself, again, I typically do not talk about the child. I typically will talk about her comments with the child, but for myself, I talk about her red flags. You know, if she's mentioned something, like if she mentions John Cook with a child, I'm quoting her. I'm not talking about the child. You know, so, but regardless, they have asked myself and they have asked also Megan Fox to cover that. On top of it, there have been public videos, accusations from all kinds of stuff, all kinds of fun stuff, you know, which, well, again, send me a cease and desist. I will send you a rebuttal cease and desist. I promise you. And I will demand within 7 days that you, number one, acknowledge that you did indeed lie about an interview that you gave. That number two, you wanted to put your little pal in jail, that you said some pretty interesting things about them. And we'll see. We'll see exactly. It's so funny, though. They're now on they've got this person that likes to file frivolous lawsuits sitting in their midst, telling them file pro se, you know, and it's like, oh my God. Lynette, by the way, you're still in bankruptcy. And if you on top of it, if you decide that you're going to kick that to the curb, you know, and not do anything, how are you going to cover yourself when you lose a lawsuit? The next one. Like, what are you going to do then? I mean, that's my question. You know, how does that work? If they end up losing another lawsuit, because her whole idea, right, was to cover herself with the bankruptcy. Well, what happens when you file that bankruptcy and now you're working with a net? I mean, what do you plan then? I'm very curious about that. You know, what does she think happens after that? Let me see. So her email, or rather her counsel's email to me that talked about the child, and actually, here, I will pull that up. It is not a new new one by any stretch, but it pretty much tells me to cover this kind of thing. So you can see her counsel. Now, these were all photographs at the bottom, as you may not remember this. It's been a minute, but this is all the photographs of her and her child, plus her grandkids, which apparently that blew up spectacularly, when they were trying to get comments from him and stuff. But here was Bruce saying, are you covering the airport photos? Or is that where you draw the line between the intelligence of your viewers and the gullibility of Hale's viewers? I assume you're 100% certain the airport photos show the kids were driven by Miss Preston appear to be happy. If you're certain of this, then you know Hales is lying to his viewers. So how can you continue to accept and propagate everything he says? Blah, blah, blah. But you see this here, This is also why I never do anything that these people ask, because it's never enough. It's like what happened with Shizzy. I don't put pictures, like I said, kid. I understand where there's been some argument about her stating that she takes a kid everywhere with a mask or a shield. And people put up rebuttal videos or put up rebuttal photographs from videos that she had taken or other people had taken, it really showing. No, but for myself, I typically don't put up any whatsoever, but they tried to bait myself and other people into doing that. You notice that, but that's her lawyer saying, why aren't you covering this? So, okay, I'm covering it. I'm covering it, Bruce. Come on, baby. I'm covering it. All right. But that's Michelle asking too. But hey, I don't even know how to put this into the legal route. Oh my God. Don't ask Marla for legal advice. Jeez. Oh my God. She is asking Marla for legal advice. Isn't that terrible? Out of anybody. There's a lot of dumb people out there, but Marla is a really bad one. We're going to have a fun night tonight, by the way. Oh, John can report individually too. Oh, Marla, I already do it on a regular basis. Oh, look. Now, they misused the whole privacy complaint thing. You saw 2L managed to get some body cam footage taken down. First of all, a privacy complaint. They don't understand. Like, again, I don't put my name on flagging channels. You could flag them for a lot of things, like address use, every time that they freaking forget to redact a document, when they're using people's names, like when they use my name, my actual one. Oh, I could flag their videos and take that stuff, but I don't flag because it's a big faux pas for YouTubers. That always comes back to bite you in the butt. Plus, I think they're an evidence machine. Why would you want the evidence machine to stop giving you evidence? But what a bunch of idiots. They think that privacy complaints are the same as takedowns for community guideline strikes or something. There was a very public fight with privacy complaints a while back. There was a lady that, this was when Twitter was switching over, and essentially there was this lady that had promoted herself as a child advocate. But instead of being a child advocate, she was a lot of things except for that, let's just say. And a lot of people covered that because she had cozied up to Elon Musk. And when they covered that, she started striking every person that she could with privacy complaints. Now, those aren't strikes. They don't go against your channel. What a person is essentially saying is, this violates my privacy. And under new YouTube, I mean, when you have less humans than AI, you're going to have problems sometimes with that. It's funny, though. They think that somehow means something while cozying up to people banned on YouTube, which is pretty amazing. But hey, what do I know, right? What do I know? But doing the legal route, John Cook, it's longer. It must have legal backing before YouTube will listen. So what they're telling you here is they're going to YouTube legal, and they are asserting fake claims. In fact, what they're doing is laying out a groundwork where somebody could do the same thing to them. I mean, this is a stupid move because, again, that they all assume that they're somehow safe from this recourse. They're not some gigantic freaking channel that is somehow magically protected from someone doing the same or much worse to them. In fact, one day if they go bye-bye, who would advocate for them? Now, again, as I said, I am not advocating for anyone's channel to be taken down. In fact, I would like Lynette Preston to have a channel. I think that would be amazing. But this is them admitting and plotting publicly, by the way, publicly, to bypass all of the reporting measures that are there and to try to hit up YouTube legal. So bypassing and falsely claiming bullshit through they're not saying that they're, again, when you read this, they're not saying we're going to report just with a court. That's how they take that at first. This is Marla saying bypass all of that and go to YouTube legal, which is just absolutely stupid and nuts. But that's what these people have been doing. They've been going and making false. Actually, what they're doing is even worse because they are interfering with businesses. Every channel that they hit while they're claiming they're going to do this or that, they do interfere with businesses with it. So, when they're whining about, like it's so funny when 2L is talking about, I'm going to sue like a Megan for copyright, for blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, just flagging content with false claims, which absolutely kind of problems there. But again, we're not talking about the brightest bulbs in the shed. We are talking about some idiots. But anyway, so let's continue with this. They have been shown to alter screenshots of Lisa's chat. What? Do you? These people are so funny. At first, they complain because, by the way, did you know Lisa thinks that she owns the comments made in her chat? She thinks she owns other people's comments, which are really funny. That's part of the supposed copyright claims. I'm gonna copyright you because these other people commented and it's my chat. Wait, what? By the way, if that were true, that would also, you realize that under your claim of that would also mean that you have liability for it because it would be your comment. So say someone doxes someone. Well, that'd be your problem, right? I had to run off a radar real quick. She's, like I said, she's starting to feel better and she does not want to be confined to bed. Man, she was so sad the other night. It was just so sad to see her. But this whole alter screenshots, people don't have to alter screenshots of these idiots. I mean, you have people that they take screenshots of what these morons say. And we clip them and show them exactly as they are. That's the funny thing. Like, there's no need to alter the stupid. Oh my God. Michelle too. She was complaining about the bankruptcy. So out of this, she is complaining that she can't get a fair bankruptcy now. It's unfair to her. After the decision yesterday, we're talking about so if you miss this for some reason, first of all, Jeremy Hales has a video on it. It is a very good video. You would probably enjoy it. I covered about an hour here yesterday. I covered his video on Rumble, and on top of it, I covered how we got there. There's one document we haven't looked at, though, that we probably should tonight. It's the document that pretty much put these folks in their place, which, God, there's a lot of documents, by the way. You know, we have here, I've been making a list of the stuff we've missed. Check this out. Listen to this right here. So we have the Preston admitting flagging, you know, to go with the bankruptcy. There's a bankruptcy filing. We have Paint Chips' filing. We have Leslie's newest filing. We also have the filing, the 64-page filing that is a response to Leslie's filing. We have, on top of that, we have Dan Owen, the appeal brief. We have that. Oh, yeah, that's up too, baby. That's right. So we get to hear about that. We have BBB writing emails to people out there yet again. That's fun. Maybe we can have the person he wrote to, by the way, on. Tizzy's got a brand new video as well. Plus, myself, for the bankruptcy stuff, I actually want to go over Saran Wrap's his appeal in another case, just to show you what kind of brain trust we are working with some of these lawyers here. You know, out of all these people, again, I will say that old Saran Wrap, her bankruptcy lawyer, is my favorite of the bunch. He, if nothing else, you know, lawyers, they should understand the heard but not seen approach. You know, you hear them in legal filings, but some of these people, they don't. I mean, if you want to get into the slugfest online, that's your prerogative. But they make mistakes when they do that. And Saran Wrap, he is not, as of yet, gotten into that. As we, you know, at least we're not aware of that. You know, he's taking his money and he's for whatever I think or anyone thinks of his job, he's doing his job. Like that is his job. So, you know, I don't begrudge him. Like if these idiots want to pay this man $6,000 for whatever, I don't begrudge him for taking that money. I mean, hey, why would I? Again, it's not my case either. I don't care that much. I'm just addicted to watching their stupid. And they're telling us all that we're not allowed to be addicted to their stupid, which is funny. You know, they've been complaining about like Jay, for example. Jay is their biggest fan. Their biggest fan. And they're like, you can't watch our show. It's kind of sad. I bet Jay cries a lot about that. But here she is complaining about he's making me unavailable to have a fair bankruptcy. Now, what is a fair bankruptcy? Typically with a bankruptcy, you would be talking about just going in and having hearings, right? And that would be, nobody would give a shit. Bankruptcy is so boring, you know? But with her, she brought him in as a creditor and wants to write off harassment. I mean, some of the money that she owes is because of hearings and protective order violations. Also, she owes money because she's going to owe more money. By the way, Preston, it hasn't even been decided on yet, so you don't even know what you're going to owe yet on it, but you're going to owe for the thumbnail case. You know she's threatening lawsuits, by the way. Did you know that? Yeah, she's going to file on all of this. You know, I thought, man, this is the lady. Again, she gives interviews and tells us, hey, help me put this one person in jail. And then she's like, I'm going to sue you later. Isn't it? I absolutely love that. I love how none of these people have any loyalty to one another. And really to anything or anyone. They'll turn on a person at the drop of a hat. And I kind of love it. I do. I kind of love it. It's just part of their charm, right? They're so bad. But she's like, I can't get it a fair bankruptcy at this point. It doesn't matter. He's making it so no matter what, my bankruptcy will be unfair. How is it unfair? Again, you make claims against him. And you wanted a bankruptcy. See, what she thought is that she could erase. This guy's spent a lot of money. They love to laugh about how he's spent into the six figures, well into the six figures. They love to laugh about that and to say, ah, ha, ha. So when he talks about recovering the money, though, apparently that's unfair. So it's a laugher. Part of that too, Michelle, is it's just issues that, again, the best advice would be to come to some resolution with Hales if you can. I don't know if you can, but you all should try to reach a resolution. An actual resolution. You should have reached out and tried to solve that, especially after, the amounts of money. And again, you're talking about wanting to keep it going. It's wild to me. So she said more about this too. She was actually talking about Randy being a liar and how he lied about everything. And let me find it. Give me a second. God, there's so much of it lately. It's so much to keep up with. It's all craziness. So here she is. Give me 1 minute here. Give me a second to lock that in. Come on, lock in. There we go. She said that Shockett lied today in the hearing that they had. Okay. So in the hearing, she's saying that he lied and said, we did not turn over anything for discovery when he knows damn well that we did give. Everything I have was given, and he's already gotten everything I had prior. Wait. Well, first of all, prior doesn't count. In this case, you have to remember that each case is a separate entity, first of all. So if you're talking about, hey, I turned something over in the past, well, you need to turn it over now. And on top of that, the stuff that I've seen, she claimed, by the way, look, he's asking for my diaries or journals or et cetera, for my bankruptcy. Hello. My diary is dear diary. That none of these people want to ask for my folders with my proof. I would love for them to be like, let's put those into filings, Doug. When they ask for information to be turned over, oh, I can't wait. I have like wonderful screenshots I'll turn over where they're where they're lying about schools being shut down. Where they're calling people groomers and, where they're talking about SEO and ruining people's lives. Oh my God. That would be amazing to actually turn over. It'd be so funny. But let's see. She also has had, so there were people, so she made a bunch of comments about Kiddo. And the reason I'm going to bring these up is because this has sparked a bunch of craziness. Oh, by the way, let me continue one on that first. Actually, the last thing that she brought up. So as far as the whole idea of turning over diaries and everything, this is what she ended up saying with that too. By the way, Allison, thank you, as always, for your screenshotting. She does amazing work. I really do want to give her a shout out for that, because she goes in and she showcases these people, and it's wild. It is wild. But you, Mark, you all do, you do God's work here. I mean, this stuff is something else. So she said, yep, everything for discovery from my bank accounts. Of course, accounts. So she notes, so you have accounts. That's an interesting note. So she says that she has multiple accounts, I suppose. And yes, they of course ask for it's part of a bankruptcy filing. They're going to ask for all of your money. They want to know what's included in that. I mean, again, you're trying to say, essentially you're saying, I cannot afford to pay anything back. I'm broke. I can't do this. I don't have any money. Basically he even though I've done these things and a court's decided against it, or I have a case in right now, well, I'm sorry, I need you guys to write it off. So of course they're going to look at your bank accounts. That's absolutely, what did you think would happen there? Actually, I know what they thought would happen. They thought they were just going to get a free ride. Basically, they could claim whatever, and when they claimed whatever, they could go with it, and nobody at all would question them. It goes back to that whole they wouldn't be telling the truth, they would be telling their truth. They thought that their truth would be enough. And that's not how the courts operate. That's the problem all these people will run into with all their stupid claims. You try to tell them that, but they're like, nope, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Again, you would think that the idiots that did this would just perhaps say, well, maybe the legal moves, the legal maneuvers that we did here, they weren't that smart. So maybe we don't want to put ourselves on the line. But no, they're all idiots. They think that they really do buy into the idea that cases are a moneymaker. If they filed in pro se, they can make money off of it. It's bad though when you're having a problem raising $400 for an initial filing. You should probably ask yourself, if you get locked in for $18,000, $20,000, what's going to happen? What happens when you lose too? That's a big problem. What happens when you get hit for legal fees that you can't afford? Do you think that you're going to be able to write them off? Because again, if they file against Megan, hell yeah. They file against me. Like I said, I will crowdfund, but I will also, straight up, I'll shift over. I hate to do it because I've been saving money for my kids later on. But if they want to do something nasty, you have to defend yourself. So I would definitely, like I said, I'd move 30 grand right off the bat and we'd get the show on the road. But then now, do I want to do that other? No, but I'll make my money back. So, and when I do, again, I would hit them with counterclaims. Megan has some pretty good counterclaims too. It is crazy though. Again, they noted, they really made a bad mistake the other day because they noted not only did they double down on their claims that they've made, instead of trying not to double down, they said, oh no, our claims come from, they come from Reddit posts. Okay, Reddit posts and a site that, again, as I've noted before, the mainstream, when they write articles about it, they talk about them being dedicated to driving creators to, let's just say, end themselves. And on top of it, the site, well, according to mainstream, keeps a kill count. Now, that would be really interesting to run into. Oh, so you source anonymous claims from a site that tries to off creators. That's interesting. In fact, I think that would be a very good thing to note for any court case that comes up. But hey, I digress. So anyway, Michelle Preston now is talking about, no, oh, well, he wants this stuff. And she says, I've turned everything over. You saw her say that. Well, did you turn everything over? Did you actually turn everything over? They say there's been many things that have disappeared, and yet now she also brought up claims with her kid, which again, I'm going to note this because she put a whole section online about this today. Let me pull this up here from YouTube. She was talking about masking her kid up anywhere she goes. All right, give me a second. Give me 1 minute. I gotta, let's see, Otter Creek, Preston. She's arguing with people. Here, let me give any of these people, why don't you take a piece of advice? But they don't. They never do. One of the things I don't do is I don't go on all the sites where people, if I'm not going to monetize it, I don't go on sites with people that fucking don't like me. Because all you do, these people, they just sit around arguing with freaking, with people on Facebook. Like, what do I care to argue all day long with people on Facebook? I don't do that. I may talk with people. I have an argument rule. It's a 3 argument rule. It's actually a Twitter rule. So I don't really argue with people on Facebook at all. But for Twitter, I have a 3 reply rule. If I get in an argument with somebody, I can reply 3 times. Unless I'm going to monetize it, then I can go further. But beyond that, 3 reply rule. If I reply over 3 times, then I'm wasting my time. I need to sit down, take a breath, even if I'm annoyed by something, which I just don't care anymore. I just don't. I care about the cases, but I don't care about freaking random people. Who gives a shit anymore? But they're just not going to bother me. But she tags in this random person. She's like, you do not have my permission to use my likeness. Actually, you post your likeness. You've had people video with you. Again, unfortunately for you, Lynette, you've gone through the whole thumbnail thing, and people aren't posting your likeness for fun. They're posting your likeness to note something about you. See, these people, that's what they're all doing right now. What they're doing is trying to keep people from talking about anything revolving evidence, or involving evidence. When they make a claim, they're essentially saying, oh, you don't have permission to actually show that thing that debunks what I said. Of course not. That's why I don't have to have your fucking permission to show it. Oh my God. Again, what she's threatening. She's been threatening a lot of people. She even threatened publicly not too long ago. She threatened, what's her name? God, I'm sorry. I'm blanking here. The daughter that came out and talked about her, she publicly threatened her too. So, and this isn't the first time, but she did that not too long ago. So, everybody apparently, even people in life that have talked about her, she's made threats about going after them. Think about that. I can't imagine in my life making threats like that. I can't imagine if, I don't know. I guess maybe I just can't imagine having a situation like that, period. But I can't imagine in response to making public, private, because I don't know about privately, by the way. I have no idea. But I do know publicly what's going on. I imagine if it goes on publicly, it probably goes on privately. But I don't know. I don't have any access to that. But I can't imagine doing it that public. But again, what do I know? Again, I'm not a genius there like these folks. I'm not a legal wizard like some of these people are. But anyway, she's like, I don't need my likeness or that of my child. And you, whoever you are a blazing liar. Now, right there, Lynette, you defeated your statement because you called them out and said that they are liars. Now, they have the right to defend themselves, and they have the right to post about this stuff. And when you're calling them, again, you're saying, oh, they're lying about this or that. Well, they can post to something and they'll be like, yeah, this is you. And this is, again, I am not by any stretch of the imagination encouraging you to post pictures of kids. I try not to ever do that myself. But in some of these incidents, she's claiming things like my kid goes out with a mask on or a shield on all the time. And people are like, no, you don't. Remember 2L and the kid sitting on the lap? Isn't that a stranger? How do you know they are or not well? Huh? So when my child, why would my child have a shield on outside when she wasn't near any human beings within 3 feet? My daughter wears a shield when we go anywhere she will be face-to-face contact or when someone could cough in her face, but there's no need to wear one when she's not. She wears one to flea market. I mean, again, people were posting pictures of, again, maybe this is a new thing. I don't know. But she's responding to folks that are saying, look, here's pictures of you at the flea market. You don't have that on. Here's pictures of you around these people. You don't have that on. I mean, you see, what is that statement that is? Oh, yeah, they're debunking your ass, as Jay says. Debunking your ass. But you can see, again, and then look at this. Oh, my God. Called a 6-year-old a hag. I doubt they called a 6-year-old a hag, by the way. Oh, yeah, I heard you coming. I heard you. You sneaky sneaker. I didn't hear you for a second there. You almost got to me before. Oh man, she's quiet today for somebody that's all snotty. You know,
I didn't even talk.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I didn't hear you snot breathing. That was pretty good.
You know I talk quietly.
I know you do. All right. Hey, you need to go rest though, or you're not going to be able to do anything Friday.
Can you touch me in?
I will, of course. I will. Yes.
You always do it every time.
I tucked you in before your stream too, didn't I? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, go upstairs. I will.
On the day with no cover.
You don't knock the cover off. I will do it again. All right. You upstairs. I love you. When she says tuck her in, by the way, she's talking about, I'll take it. You know how you take a sheet and you throw it upward, and it spreads out. We play a game with that. Oh no, I accidentally covered up your face, So that's what she's talking about. I was not like a regular tuck in. She's like, it's a game we play every night. We end up playing it like, God, where she's been sick, we do it probably 100 or 200 times by now in the last day or two. But it makes her happy. So I love it. So anyway, what she's been throwing fits about though is essentially it boils down to her loss over they had a pretty good argument about here. Let me pull this up. So about the court decision, but one of the things that we never really got to be able to cover is what hit them, and that is the motion for fees and everything. This is what did them in. It was this motion, and they argued this at a hearing. So Hale is essentially, he responded to their protective order. What they did was slimy in its own way, because they contact Randy with about a week left before a depot is going to happen. And they lie. They lie and say, there's this doctor appointment that's been on the books for months, and there's no way that it can be missed, because if it's missed, well, then you're gonna have all these problems, blah blah blah. I mean, you've seen that, right? Well, Randy's like, no, you all have done this before. We're not doing it. You waited till the last minute. This has been on the book. Why didn't you complain about it before? If this was a problem, why didn't you bring it up? So they go back and forth, and they tell them, if you don't do this, then we're going to put in a protective order. We're going to put in basically a request with the court that you can't make us be there, and you can't charge us money because that she didn't show up. They lied in it. Now they say, according to Hale's, they said, I could have worded it better. No, it's a lie. They said that it had been scheduled for months. It was scheduled the same day. Stuff comes out. Again, they wanted, number one, not to show up for that day, but number two, they wanted a free pass. No cost. And the problem with that is, according to Hale's, even on the day of the scheduled depot, you not only had Randy show up, and you not only have Jeremy Hale show up, but you have her lawyer shows up. Her lawyer doesn't even know if she's going to be there. That's to me, that's crazy. You know, I can't even imagine like running with that. Like, what a shit show. And again, she's complaining because things aren't going her way. Well, of course they're not going your way. I mean, but anyway, so this was the response to that protective order. And this is what hit them. This is how they end up with fees and costs. So this was right before the hearing. This came out like the day before the hearing, and it was pretty good. I have to say, it was a good argument. So Jeremy Hale's buying through undersigned counsel. He hereby files this response in opposition to the debtor's motion for protective order and respectfully requests that the court deny the motion and award reasonable attorney fees and costs to the creditor pursuant to federal rules of civil procedure, blah, blah, blah. Now, the debtor filed the motion only 2 days before scheduled depot. Can you imagine that? They wait until right before the scheduled depot and they file this protective order. This giant middle finger. And they've done it before. Again, what I think's happened over and over and over. And by the way, Michelle says they're going to fight this too. Oh, yeah. They're going to fight. So what I want to know, Saran Wrap, are you getting paid more money, man? Because at this point, surely, I actually, at first, when they talked about him deserving more money, I was like, no. You know, he doesn't deserve more. But I'm to the point now with everything that he's doing, like maybe he does deserve more pay. Because, you know, he signed on. If they haven't actually gone through and given him more money, how much is he supposed to do? Because he's doing this, he's doing all of this stuff for free. Oh, look at this. I found this here. Check this out. I forgot to bring this up. So she thinks, again, there's a mole at the post office. This is here. This is Michelle. She's like, how else does he know? Like, the second something's filed, how does he know? She truly is. She thinks there's a mole at the post office telling Jeremy Hills the second that she files something. Oh my God. Yes, I mean that is exactly what they were talking about here too. Oh my God, how can this be real? Yeah, the postal workers, they're also plotting against you, right, Michelle? I mean, when you get down to it, it's like, wait a minute, like everybody's about, even the post office. Oh my God. All right, let me go back to the document. Oh God, that's so funny though. You got to admit that's awesome. Holy Lord. But yeah, she said that you're going to fight this decision that came in. They have 14 days. They're probably going to wait till the last second, and they're going to file something arguing. You know, she already made that clear too. But the debtor, they filed 2 days before the scheduled depot, seeking to postpone or cancel the deposition based on a scheduling conflict that the debtor admits in page 6. The motion was known months in advance. This was a stupid thing to do, by the way. You know, their own setup says that this is a delay tactic because they admit that they knew about it for months, which they didn't, by the way. But that's what they said. They filed it that way. They said, we knew about it for months, but they didn't let opposing counsel know about it until right before the issue. And again, they just expect Hales to eat it, you know? I mean, you already incur cost. They incur costs setting it up. See, this is the other thing. Going and having communication, setting all of this stuff in where they already set up that. Again, that costs money by itself. So delaying in the aftermath of that, they're just basically saying, oh, well, you're going to have to incur more cost, Jeremy. And that's not fair. And that's part of what they're noting with that. They're saying, Again, if you knew about this months in advance, why didn't you say something about it? And I think that's a good argument, by the way, their own argument. And then they, according to Jeremy, they said that that they noted that probably wasn't the best wording ever, that it had actually been scheduled on the 28th of April. So, oopsie, it wasn't months. It was actually just a few weeks on the same day. But this last minute filing demonstrates a lack of diligence, inconsistent with the cooperative spirit required in discovery practice, and has caused the creditor to incur unnecessary expenses. Absolutely. The creditor should not be, in a bankruptcy, the creditor should not be asked to incur additional expenses. You're not talking about, it's not just the expense they're trying to write off. It's additional expenses on top of it. And I mean, again, they've told Lynette, hey, we have questions for you. She's going to be deposed. She's going to be deposed. That's what all these idiots don't understand. They're all going to be deposed. All of them. Anything they get involved in, they would be deposed. I am happy. Oh my God, I'm happy to go into a deposition. Oh, I absolutely will be happy to do one. And not there, they were like, oh yeah, I love being in a courtroom. And oh my God, one of these morons pro se getting up there trying to, oh God, can you imagine? It sounds like freaking like a gift, like an absolute gift, like entertainment from on high. But anyway, so under federal rules of civil procedure, a motion for protective order filed on the eve of deposition, particularly when the moving party had advanced knowledge of scheduling conflict, is not substantially justified and grounds for denial of the motion and awards of fees and costs to the non-moving party. Absolutely. You can't do it just at the last moment. 1 second. I had to run off the radio again. Yeah, you can tell she's getting, I'm glad she's feeling better. I am. I'm glad that she's starting to feel better because, man, she was so sad to watch for the last few days. But they note statements of fact. So on April 28th, 2026, the creditor properly noticed the debtor's deposition. It's going to take place on May 27th. Again, they're going to do that at the courthouse. On the 25th, by the way, that's another thing that she's like, absolutely not. We're not doing either. We're going to come in and we're going to fight that too. So now the thing that they had already agreed to, that they were going to do this in person, now she's saying publicly that she is not going to cooperate with, which is a big no-no. Again, this is her case. We're not talking about a case where, Hales has done something in it. We're talking about, again, a case that she put together, and she is publicly saying that she is not going to do the things that they've agreed to. It's wild. As her lawyer, I'd be like, you need to stop, lady. But at this point, I guess it doesn't matter. Just to be honest, she's done so many dumb things that really, after a while, what does it matter anymore? But I would not be thrilled if I were her. If I were her lawyer, I would be very unhappy about what she's been doing. I would be. I'd be telling her, like, look, you got to stop this. Again, I feel bad for Saran Wrap sometimes. I really do, because these people put him. They put people. It's just like Scott Stark. They put you in an untenable position where, how do you win? And I'm sure they promise the world to these folks when they come in. They're like, oh yeah, you're going to get X, you're going to get Y, you're going to get Z. I'd be curious what they promise these folks when they come in fact, because they've got to promise them the world. I would be so pissed if I was involved in these cases, because they want delays. You can see it. So paragraph 6, again, they admit to knowing about this months in advance, debtor failed to appear for the scheduled depot on May 27th. And as a result of the last minute motion, the creditor incurred expenses, including court reporter fees, attorneys, time spent preparing for the depot, and responding to the motion. Yes, all the filings and everything else, all of that works against her. And what she's doing here, her problem is she's making the point that she's doing this stuff intentionally. So Ranrap needs to be careful too, because at a certain point, her actions will be credited to him, and he's got to know that. I mean, at a certain point, a judge will be like, look, I'm tired of this. In fact, like I said, that's what really kills me about the Fed cases, because most judges, just the disrespect that this shows, and for them to admit, like when Bruce admitted to wanting to delay a case, so delaying it 5 months, running up charges on Hales with the federal cases, that's a big no-no. You don't do that, but yet they have. In this jet, they're like, no, no. So the summary of the argument here. So the motion for protective order should be denied because the debtor has failed to demonstrate good cause under Rule 26C, and because the motion is not substantially justified under Rule 37. The debtor admission that it arranged the medical procedure month in advance is fatal to its motion. That's right. See, that was the dumbest thing they could have said. If they would have said that it was like a last minute emergency or whatever, that would have been smarter. Now, I'm not saying that would have held up, but that would have been a smarter argument. Oh no, we've got this thing. He has to do it. And really, the John Cook argument for babysitting and everything, that's I don't know legally. I don't know if that's a very good argument. And again, most people, if they wouldn't have done this a million times over, most lawyers would be like, okay. Again, like in divorce, for example, if there were a necessary delay, even when it was adversarial, up in the beginning, if they had a reason for that, when I was in court, obviously we were agreeable to that because it wasn't something that was being utilized as a weapon. But right now, when you watch this stuff, it becomes a weaponized position. And after a while, again, how much money are you supposed to eat on behalf of these people? Especially in the biggest insult, again, is in a bankruptcy thing. I'm going to write off this money that I owe you. Oh, by the way, screw you on this other thing too. Eat more money. So despite having months of advanced knowledge, the debtor waited until 2 days before properly noticed deposition to file its motion. This conduct demonstrates a lack of diligence and fails to satisfy the good cause standard required for protective relief. The creditor is entitled to recover its reasonable fees and costs under two independent provisions of Rule 37. First, Rule 37A5B mandates an award of expenses incurred in opposing the motion for protective order when that motion is denied, unless the motion was substantially justified or other circumstances make the award unjust. So again, when they knock it down, this is what they ran into. There are only a couple of provisions that would have allowed them not to tack on costs. That would have said that the motion, it would have had to be substantially justified. So the court would have come in and said, well, yeah, I mean, that you made a good case there. That's good to go. And really, with this, I did wonder how that would go, by the way. I was curious because a lot of courts have cut them a lot of slack. But I think courts, they're getting a little tired of the stupid. They just want you to get on with it. I don't think that's unfair either. Again, they forget too that these courts, they are there just as much for the creditor as they are for the person trying to write off costs. So they forget about that. But, or other circumstances make it award unjust. The debtor cannot meet this burden given its months in advance knowledge and 2-day filing timeline. Yes, that is a big hit right there. Second, to the extent the debtor failed to appear at a properly noticed deposition, Rule 37D authorizes sanctions, including the reasonable expenses caused by the failure. Yeah, so all the costs that, again, this is their cause. They again wanted a bankruptcy. And now when again, it's just like another giant FU. So would you expect like some bank or something else to have to deal with that, over and over, to just eat costs, or a car lot or whatever? See, they think they can do this to an individual, and they have again been allowed to do things that to a company. Like if you're just some random company out there, they would never get away with, which blows my mind. But they didn't get it this time. Again, they should take this as a warning and maybe stop being stupid. So, the filing of a motion to protective order does not excuse the duty to appear at a deposition absent a court postponing or excusing that. This is absolutely the case too. So the thing that she screwed up on as well is that she assumed, and she did this also in the thumbnail case, she assumed that putting in a motion made the motion valid or just. Like it was automatically the effort of putting it in somehow substantiated it. And again, courts should be like, no, that's not how it works. But unfortunately, many of them have allowed that behavior. After a certain point, you would hope they would do something about it, but they didn't. Oh, what a mess, though. So the argument, the motion for protective order should be denied. And it was, by the way. Again, this is a great filing because you saw it work. Because it's untimely, it's not substantially justified, and it lacks good cause under Rule 26C. Hey, the debtor bears the burden of demonstrating good cause. Yes, it's on the debtor. See, that's another thing that they pulled, which I thought was absolute clown show BS. They acted like it was on Hale's, the creditor, to somehow prove, I mean, that blew my mind. It's like, wait a minute. It's not on Hale's to do that. It's on her to show that, yes, they had this scheduled. And again, if you looked at their proof, their so-called proof for it, their proof was awful as well. They turned in very little, in fact, very little that helped out any of their arguments. Let's see. I don't remember if I've put all of that away. They had their exhibits were essentially John Cook with a doctor's excuse, which again, that means nothing in the scope of this. But they put in a doctor's excuse for John Cook as one of the exhibits. Here it is. So this was, and again, there is nothing on this exhibit that doxes anything. I wiped out all of the unnecessary details, but check this out. So in his exhibit to prove this doctor's appointment, which again doesn't actually matter anyway, but to prove it, gross. I don't even want to know what all that is on there, these gross stains. But you look at it on 5/19. So on the 27th, they have a depot. Well, he goes in and on the 19th gets a doctor's excuse, like the kind that you would go and bring. It doesn't say anything about procedures, emergency, nothing. It just says, please excuse the reference patient from workers' school. He or she is currently under the care of a physician at our office, was seen for an appointment or a procedure on this specific date, undergoing a procedure that requires he has a driver. It doesn't say surgery. It doesn't say anything like that. And it's only for 1 day. It requires a driver. Now, she did say she was his emergency driver, but That's not valid. Sorry, I was taking a drink. That I've been up all day. I actually drinking some caffeine, which I've been trying to avoid. But my Lord. But you can see that was their big haha. And all these, they were laughing about it like it was like that was going to be enough, because it's worked for them before. It absolutely has. You had that, they filed emails, and they filed the thing that I think really did them in. And that was the notice that they got, because they said that it was filed beforehand. And yet, when you look at this, again, remember, they admitted that they filed on the 28th, or they got a doctor's appointment rather on the 28th of April. Well, here, this is where she was told that, hey, there's a notice of deposition. They also had a hearing over this too. But the notice of deposition, it was filed on the same day they got a doctor's appointment. Looked very suspicious, and regardless of it, again, it's her burden to meet to say that it needs to happen. They should have scheduled it beforehand. And again, they lied about the scheduling. And Lynette Preston was the person who gave them away, which good job on that one, I guess. But under Federal Rules of Procedure 26C applies to in adversary proceedings through Federal Rule Bankruptcy Procedure 7026. Under Rule 26C1, a party seeking a protective order must demonstrate good cause for the court to issue an order protecting the party from annoyance, embarrassment, oppression, or undue burden or expense. The party seeking a protective order bears the burden of demonstrating good cause for the order. Again, that's the thing there. Good cause. You have to have a reason for this to transpire, a good one at that. The motion must be timely filed, and courts have held that parties with knowledge of a need for a protective order may not remain silent or wait for a conflict to occur. This, if they knew about it, they knew that it was going to come up. It was it's their duty. It's not, what they wanted from Randy is essentially read my mind. Yes, we had a conflict. Read my mind. You should have known about it. Again, that's not the way it works. But they acted like it was. They acted like it was, again, it's his duty to somehow know that that's happening. It really disturbed me to see these kind of claims. The disturbing part of it isn't just that they do this, it's that they think that it's reasonable to do this, They think it's reasonable to drive up costs. Again, they brag about it. They brag about driving up costs. They brag about how much they cost Jeremy Hales. Rule 26C2, it provides that the expense transfer provision under Rule 37A5 apply to protective order motions. Under these provisions, if the motion is denied, the court must require the movement to pay the party who opposed the motion its reasonable expenses incurred in opposing the motion, including attorney fees, unless the motion was substantially justified or other circumstances made an award of expense unjust. The substantially justified standard requires more than mere good faith. It demands a showing that a reasonable person could differ as to the appropriateness of the contested action. So again, it's not just oh yeah, that's all good to go. Oh no. You need more than good faith for it, huh? So again, that's what hits them and it's going to cost them money. The motion is untimely and demonstrates a lack of diligence. So the debtor's motion for protection, filed only 2 days before the scheduled depot, is untimely and demonstrates a lack of diligence. Although Rule 26C does not specify a deadline within which a protective order must be filed, courts have imposed the requirement that motions for protective orders be timely or seasonable. Failure to file a timely motion for protective order can be grounds for denying a motion, particularly when a party has knowledge of a need for protective order, again, but remains silent until a conflict occurs. What that does, the reason that that exists is so people do not manufacture conflict. Because, again, Lynette Preston is saying, I don't do that. I haven't manufactured issues, blah, 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 right? I mean, she says this, and yet, through it all, you always have conflicts that arise. They do not want her to pose. They really do not want her to pose. You cannot, again, you can't do that. I find it amazing. I do. I find it absolutely amazing. So anyway, although Rule 26C does not specify a deadline within which a protective order must be filed, courts have imposed the requirement that motions for protective orders be timely or seasonable. Failure to file a timely motion for protective order can be grounds for denying, again, where that. So that's beautiful when it comes up. Here, the debtor had months of advance knowledge, months, as their own statement said, of scheduling conflict. They had waited 2 days before the deposition to seek relief. This delay is inexcusable and demonstrates a deliberate failure to manage discovery obligations responsibly. The circumstances do not warrant excusing the debtor's untimely filing. The debtor had months to file this motion or to communicate the conflict to the creditor. The debtor cannot claim lack of opportunity when it possessed full knowledge of the conflict for months before the deposition date. Now, the debtor's admission defeats any claim of substantial justification and good cause. See, this is what I love there. Again, they were saying that there is indeed some type of good cause. And yet, I love this. I do. I absolutely love this. So look at this argument here. I love this here. The debtor's admission in paragraph 6 of the motion that the medical procedure was arranged months in advance is fatal to any claim of substantial justification of good cause. Can you imagine putting that in? And it was wrong. It was a lie. So they not only put it in, but they lied about it. This is what it's talking about. If you don't know, let me pull up paragraph 6, just so you know. Okay. So this was the argument, by the way, with this. And like I said, I love it. I love the argument here. So the factual background, again, for the protective, this was the protective order where they make a motion. And again, it was not ruled on. So she should have shown up. She should have known better. Well, with the factual background, they note the dates there, but she has unavoidable caregiving obligations regarding her special needs child. John Cook, he's the one that would take care of the child. But now this was fatal to their argument. This right here. And again, it's a lie. So that's the most amazing thing. Mr. Cook is scheduled to undergo a medical procedure on May 27th, 2026, which was arranged months in advance. Now remember, between the two dates, there wasn't even a month. It was April 28th that the procedure was actually scheduled. You find that out, but that statement that they made, this was filed on May 25th, by the way. So between that, there wasn't even a month. But that did their motion in. I love it. I absolutely love it. Oh, when you lie and your lie actually destroys you. Oh, Lord. When you tell these people, when you're like, hey, you probably don't want to go this direction. And they do it anyway. We talked about, look, Lynette, here's the problem. Like when we sat here and we talked about this, we told you that it was a dumb idea and you needed to show up. You had already been told by a court to show up and you didn't. I mean, but we told you that's what you have to do. It just blows my mind. So, by admitting months in advance, the debtor concedes it had ample opportunity to notify the creditor Yes, that's right. They had plenty of time when they're saying that. So they knew months in advance. They could have told them weeks in advance, right? Not a couple of days in advance. Seek informal resolution or file a timely motion for protective order. This admission demonstrates that the debtor's last-minute filing was not the result of an unexpected emergency or unavoidable circumstance, but rather the product of delay or poor timing. The good cause standard requires a particular or specific demonstration of harm. The debtor cannot demonstrate good cause when her own admissions revealed that she had months to address the scheduling conflict, but chose not to do so. Any harm the debtor now claims could have been entirely avoided through timely communication. Yes, if you talked to us before and fixed these issues, we could have stopped this. And that makes sense, right? And reasonable scheduling coordination. Moreover, the debtor's conduct cannot be considered substantially justified under Rule 37 standard. Reasonable people could not differ as to whether it is appropriate to wait months before disclosing a known scheduling conflict and then file a motion 2 days before a properly noticed deposition. Yeah, see, this is the substantially justified. When reasonable people can look at this and come to different conclusions, right? So what he's saying is, well, if you had some reasonable people and put them together and told them, hey, if you knew about something months in advance, but you only told somebody a couple of days before that, does that seem reasonable, for them to be able to make other plans and do something? Absolutely not. I mean, most people would say that looks wrong. It looks very wrong. I would be very irritated by all of this too. So the debtor's approach is objectively unreasonable and fails to meet the substantial justification standard. Now, the debtor failed to act in good faith. Although the debtor included a certification, any last-minute attempt to confer 2 days before the depot cannot constitute good faith when the debtor possessed knowledge of the conflict for months. That's also a very good argument. How can you claim good faith in an argument, but at the same time state, well, I think we'll reach out to you. In fact, we did talk to you. We had again, in the filing, it states that they did confer, like the certificate of, like you think about this. I think it's a very good argument too. When you check this out, you're required to confer with the other party. Yeah. But you think about it. They didn't confer with the other party about this issue until. So they didn't let everybody know with, wait, where's the certificate? That's the service certificate. Actually, yeah, here it is. My bad. So here it is. I showed you the service one. My bad. The other one. I was like, wait a minute, it's not there. So the certificate of good faith conference, they note, undersigned counsel certifies that counsel conferred in good faith with counsel for creditor Jeremy Hale concerning the relief. However, they couldn't reach agreement. So when you're looking at that, yes, they did indeed they conferred, but you're talking about days before this scheduled event was to take place. I mean, Randy has a good point there. Yes, you have to reach out and you have to talk about it. Most people would read, again, if you let me know weeks in advance, it'd been okay. To be honest, with Lynette Preston, if she didn't do this all of the time, more people would be, they would say, okay. But not for her, man. I would not allow her to do this kind of stuff, simply because, again, she has been the epitome of bad faith when it's come to showing up. I showed you a list of where they've pulled this. And again, they pulled this exact same thing when it came to the thumbnail case. You know what's funny? They have taken to publicly threatening Tina, who talked about all of stuff, saying that Tina was the one that recorded their conversation. And again, they conveniently leave out, no, the recording that was put out was a recording by me. I recorded, which she was aware of, but on top of it, I live in Tennessee. You did an interview with me, I can record whatever the fuck I want. But they have been threatening Tina, who, the reason I bring her up is because in the thumbnail litigation, she told Tina that she had been advised to wait till the very last minute before approaching a subject. The reason that she did not let them know, and they tried to use the John Cook, well, they did use the John Cook health excuse. The reason they did that is because she said this, again, I'm not saying it, but she told Tina that both Bruce and this guy right here had told her that what they should do. Wait until the last minute. That way there would be nothing. See, this is the gross, it's a gross misunderstanding of a court too. Now, some courts will let you get away with it, but as far as a court and the way it should work, you're not just disrespecting the court, but saying that you had an emergency obligation that wouldn't, and the court, they couldn't act on it. Remember in the thumbnail case, they didn't put in something until the night before. So there was no way a court could actually act on that at all. They could never put in any type of decision. And I mean, that's a problem. That is a huge problem. And again, that runs cost up on other people. Oh, that stuff would really, it's garbage there. So, by staying silent for months and then filing a last-minute motion, the debtor violated the fundamental principles that parties should confer in good faith. Yes, yeah, right there. The whole idea, the principle behind it for good faith conference is that you do it timely. And you don't, again, they're trying to say, well, we did this and we tried. So court intervention, well, we tried to stop court intervention. It's unfair to hold us accountable because we actually tried to hold this off. When again, you tell me, does that sound like, when you look at it, does that sound like something that you think is fair? Because I wouldn't. Policy considerations supporting denial of the motion. So granting the motion protective order would reward the debtor's lack of diligence and shift the burden of poor planning onto the creditor. That is right. Again, it should have been, it becomes the creditor's problem. And, you're already dealing with people that, well, with Lynette Preston, we're not talking about like health-related costs or anything else. We're talking about somebody that, as 2L said, she makes a very terrible financial decisions. That was 2L's own statement. So, these are the people that right now, and apparently, according to 2L and them, the permit failure is 100% your fault, Preston, by the way. It's all your fault. So I think that's the thing we should all remember. It was all Preston's fault, 100%. I mean, after all, she's dealing with these people again, and she seems to be okay with them blaming her. So, I mean, I guess it is your fault. 100%, right, Preston? I actually don't believe that, but I mean, if you're dealing with these people and you're allowing them to blame you, what's it mean? What's it mean indeed? So, the discovery process depends on parties acting in good faith and communicating openly about scheduling conflicts and other issues that may arise. When a party possesses months of advanced knowledge of a conflict but remains silent till the last minute, the party undermines the cooperative spirit that makes discovery function efficiently. I actually love that argument there. It undermines the very principle of the rules here. The creditor properly notified deposition with adequate advance notice in compliance with federal rules. That's right. The creditor should not be penalized for the debtor's failure to communicate a known scheduling conflict. Granting the motion would effectively punish the creditor for following proper procedures while rewarding the debtor for failing to cooperate in the discovery process. Yes, she's like, reward me for doing stupid things. Reward me. Oh my God. I kind of love it. You know, I'm the one who should be rewarded for it. Oh my Lord. And does this strike any of you as insane? You know, the arguments that are here. It can't just be me that looks at this and thinks, you really can't be arguing it this way, right? I mean, you're not telling the court that, well, 2 days is okay. Because that punishes the creditor. So the creditor is entitled to an award of reasonable fees and costs under Rule 37. I'm curious how much the reasonable fees and costs associated, by the way. You're talking about thousands of dollars for sure. I'm very curious what that cost is going to be, though. Like how much we're discussing here. Because I mean, you've got the fees that come with Randy showing up. You have the fees for all of the filings. You have the fees for the court reporter. I mean, again, those are thousands of dollars. So she already owes thousands of dollars. What this causes, Lynette, and you're dumb enough to let it happen. What it causes for you is it causes you to have even more money that Jeremy Hales, he will be able to work into going after property. You know, she talks about losing her home and all this other stuff. Well, again, her property, I cannot believe the level. It's like they want to lose. It's like they're determined to lose property and more. You know, a reasonable person, they also comply with court orders. Like most of us would 100% comply with a court order, right? If you told me, hey, you got this hearing or whatever, you know, if there's a request for documentation, anything like that, most of us are like, yes, 100%. So good to hear you again. I've been at Wi-Fi. Oh no, I'm glad you're back. It sucks. You cannot lose the Tugless. I appreciate you all, by the way. I miss you all. Again, you know, I didn't know today. I had a doctor's appointment, and like I said, I was getting my legs looked at. You know, I had I'm not going to go into it, but during all of that craziness with the DV stuff and all of that, like I said, I sustained injury to the interior of my legs, which causes big problems, you know, over time. And I had a doctor's appointment at 1 today, but they called me at 8 and they were like, hey, we have some cancellations. If you can get down here, you know, really early, then we'll work you in. I was like, oh, okay, we'll work you in. All right, that's fine. So I set it up. I got it done really quickly. And I got the girls, you know, looked at. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have somebody get down here real fast. Get the girls looked after, so they don't have to go with me. All right, so I get down there. Within 17 minutes. That's amazing, right? And then I sat for an hour and a half waiting. We'll work you in really quick here this morning. Now, granted, it was faster than me having to wait till 1 o'clock, but still, I was there until 11:30. So I was like, man, why don't doctors work on their own timeline, you know? But anyway, I didn't think I would be able to get in here and do something today. So I'm glad I actually did get to. So, creditor, again, reasonable fees and costs under two independent provisions. The first one, 37A5B, mandates an award of expenses incurred in opposing that debtor's motion for protective when that motion was denied, unless, again, we went through that. And the second is to the extent that they failed to appear. So, there's the two cost associations. Again, when the motion was denied, them having to fight it, they have to give reasonable expenses for that. And second, again, when she didn't show up at all for the depot, that's another problem too. So, hey, creditor is entitled to fees and costs under. So this Rule 37A5B establishes a strong presumption in favor of awarding expenses when a motion for protection order is denied, which it was. So the rule provides that if the motion is denied, the court must, after giving an opportunity to be heard, require the movement, the attorney filing the motion, or both. So you notice this here. This may cost, like, again, I've been saying saran wrap, these little schemes and stuff are potentially reaching into his pocket. And if you're reaching into his pocket and costing him money, at a certain point, he has to be like, what the fuck, man? And I would not blame him for being annoyed with this. I would be very pissed off. If you start, it's one thing to ask me to go out and to do anything for you, but it's another thing to ask me to reach into my pocket and pay, because you want to delay a case. And they wanted to delay this thing forever. For them to say that's not the case, of course they're going to say that publicly. But again, they have done this over and over. So I think the past speaks for itself. And again, the attorney on record, it could be held against him. Who's the party, by the way, that's more likely to have money to pay? Is it Lynette Preston, or is it the attorney on record? So he may get hit for costs. They may reach into his pocket. And we already know he got paid. When it first started, I was talking about this earlier, they paid him $6,000. And that's over double what other people pay. Now, there was discussion of this, even though this was supposed to be a simple bankruptcy. That's the way that it's that's the way that it's noted. But we all know that it's not a simple bankruptcy by any stretch of the imagination. There is nothing that is simple about this mess, because they don't make it simple. They could make it simple, but they don't. So, like I said, would you be happy if you were saran wrap and you suddenly found yourself on the hook paying out money in this thing that, again, I'm sure they made promises to him talking about how easy this stuff would be too. We'll never find out what those were, by the way, because he will not be able to talk about it. Saran wrap, man. Do you not regret this a little bit, man? Come on, you do. How much money, how much more money are you going to have to cough up? How many more, problems or excuses are these people going to throw out there before you're like, man, this is wrong? Like I said, I would be pissed. I'd be very pissed. But, and all these, these mistakes too, when these idiots are talking about suing or doing this and that, remember, they all thought that doing this was the greatest idea ever. And in fact, if you ever incurred any kind of expense, you could just write it all off. Now, it doesn't look like that's the case anymore. Maybe they should really think about like what kind of advice they are taking. You'd think after a little while, you'd be like, well, maybe this is not good advice. Again, we told them that filing a bankruptcy like this would be bad. All of us did. I'm not just talking about me or anybody. I'm talking about you guys too. Everybody told them that this is a bad decision. Don't do this. You know, it's amazing that the thing that really is going to hurt Lynette Preston was her lawyers doing so. And there were lawyers that are involved in stating that, again, this was a good idea. God, I'd be mad. I'd be so mad. But anyway, it can make any of them pay to the party or deponent who opposed the motion its reasonable expenses incurred in opposing the motion, including attorney fees. The court must not order this payment only if the motion was substantially justified or if other circumstances made an award of expense unjust. The mandatory nature of this provision, again, it's mandatory. That's the takeaway that is stated in this. It isn't you can do it. It's no. If you find this, then you have to do it. You have to find on there. But again, Lynette's talking about them fighting it. Lynette, by the way, are you going to pay Saran Wrap more money to fight it? Because is he doing all this work for free? After a certain point, if you're not careful, Saran Wrap may quit. You know what? I mean, he's done enough. Like, at what point do you think he's done enough work? Like you folks out there. I don't mean like Lynette Preston. I mean you. At what point do you think this guy has completed his obligation to Lynette Preston and that he is no longer bound? In fact, if Lynette Preston, this is a question that I have for Saran Wrap. Did Lynette Preston actually tell you that the doctor's appointment had been scheduled months in advance? Or was that your bad wording? Because if she told you that, then that's a reason for you to be able to step away and keep your money. You know? So I'm wondering, did she actually make that statement, or is that your shitty way of saying, oh yeah, whoops, my bad wording? I am very curious, because like I said, after a minute, I would want to step away from this. I'd be like, I'm done. You know, I'm not doing this anymore. But it does make, again, I'm not her lawyer, so I don't know. This definitely does not make you look good, though, to any court. But the mandatory nature, mandatory is a very big key word. The burden rests squarely on the movement to demonstrate either substantial justification for filing the motion or circumstances that would make the award unjust. Yes, it's on them. When they came in and they got to argue it, and they did have a hearing on it, by the way, it was on them to either showcase that there was substantial justification. Remember, they defined substantial justification as you could have reasonable people come in and they could see this differently. Like, oh, yeah, well, one person sees this as, yeah, it was justified. And the delay doesn't make that justified. Or that filing the motion or circumstance would make an award unjust. How would this be unjust? And again, they apparently did not make that argument well. As established above, the debtor's motion for protective order was not substantially justified. The debtor filed the motion only 2 days before the scheduled depot, despite, again, admitting their scheduling conflict no months in advance. This untimely filing, coupled with the debtor's failure to seek relief when the conflict first became known, demonstrates a lack of substantial justification for the motion. Beyond the lack of substantial justification, no circumstance exists that would make an award of expense unjust. The creditor should not bear or be required to bear the cost of responding to the debtor's untimely and unjustified motion. So you think about this too. Here's another thing. So imagine Jeremy Hales didn't go. Imagine he assumed that they weren't going to be there. And imagine if Lynette Preston would have shown up that day. Like where she was talking about how she didn't know if she was going to show up or not. Imagine if she did show up and Randy and them weren't there. What do you think they would have done? That's the other question too. I wondered about. How do you think they would have responded? Do you think they would have been like, oh no, we actually asked for time off, therefore? Or do you think they'd be like, oh, well, we did show up because he argued, therefore, give us money? Because they've already tried the give us money thing. Remember, they tried that before. They actually tried to file and to make Jeremy Hales pay them money in this mess, which kind of blew my mind, to be honest, then. But they did. They tried it. And, they also had to fight that back when, if you remember. So what a mess. But the purpose of 37A5B is to deter parties from filing meritless motions and to compensate opposing parties for the expenses incurred in responding to it. Yes, that is indeed. There are many rules like that. Like I keep telling them about their pro se plans to file something that they're plotting publicly, by the way. Where they're talking about filing garbage, harassing sponsors and more. There are rules against doing this stuff, right? You do understand that, right? But apparently they understand it, but they just don't give a shit. They've had plenty of opportunity. Like I said, if they file some garbage thing, because they were talking about, hey, we want X amount of money, then I'm going to kick in full gear with Meghan to make sure, because they're talking about going after Meghan. And if they go after Meghan, they are not allowed to try to intimidate people, which they have been trying for months. But the admissions of going after sponsors, harassment, all of this stuff, having streams behind the scenes, all of that. Again, these people, they know better than the stuff they do. But so much of what they do is geared to harassing other people. It's just unreal when you look at it. While they claim victimhood, it's so bizarre. There's a lawsuit starting right now against, it's another Ethan Klein lawsuit, by the way. He's going after a party, which I don't know if it'll work or not. It would, if he went after the party that said it, then I think he's going after iDubbbz. He's going after him for saying, well, he had a guest on, and the guest said that how do I say this? He ARPs his own kids, which is a horrible statement. Now, they loved that statement until there were potentially legal consequences. And I mean, that's a terrible statement, by the way, but it's just as bad as, say, you groom children and other stuff. I mean, these are damaging things, and these people absolutely know that the stuff they do is damaging. But for that, with the internet talking about it, they're like, well, he's suing the person that had the stream instead, and he might not get away with that, but if he were going after the person that made the claim, oh man. In fact, I think he should have gone after the person making the claim, not the person. But regardless, we'll see how that plays out too. It's also happening, I believe, in a Canadian court, which may make that correct. Again, I don't. Like I said, I personally do not believe in wasting my time or money filing lawsuits against morons, but because there's too many of them out there and they just say stupid shit all the time. But if they go after someone like a Megan Fox, after all the stuff they've pulled, like this, I mean, the stuff they've said with Megan too, God, I think that'll be interesting to see. But anyway, so the expenses recoverable under Rule 37AB5, I'm just going to say Rule 37 from now on, okay, include all reasonable expenses incurred in the opposing motion, including attorney fees. In this case, such expenses include attorney time spent researching applicable law. So you have research time. Remember, they loved bringing that notion up, by the way. That's one they love to threaten other people with. Remember, Lips threatened, oh, I'm going to get $300,000 because I even though I've never seen costs above $180K for entire stuff, we get 180. Okay. That's stupid, but okay. Oh, Lord. But yeah, you do actually have research costs. Like asking for reasonable research costs in the real world, that is something that you can ask for. So when Jeremy Hales is like, hey, or Randy is like, I had to spend money looking into the rules that govern this. And you absolutely do. You've got to get the provisions right. Some of these idiots, they are using AI or whatever, to do the work. Well, a real attorney doesn't use garbage AI hits. They actually do real research. So that costs time and money. So there's that. There's the drafting of the response. There's the reviewing of materials. So you also have costs on that. So they have to review all the stupid that these people put in. They have to respond to it. They have to go through, they have to look up everything that applies. They have to respond to the stupid. And then on top of it, they have to see how their response is to the stupid, plus any time spent attending a hearing. So as far as the hearing is concerned too, I mean, like I said, you see how these people have tried to bleed Jeremy Hales. And they've been allowed to do it with I'm glad to see a court stepping up and saying this is wrong, because courts should have done that from go, to be honest. They should have stepped on the idea that they could do this to anybody. It's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. But they have been allowed to do it for a while. God, I hate that. I hate seeing people, and you're not talking about a few dollars here, Attorney time is expensive. It is absolutely expensive. That's what they're trying to intimidate Megan Fox with too. Oh, we're going to bleed you. No. People will actually pick up that cause. Again, they're really dumb in thinking that's going to be a get rich quick scheme for them. That's a really it's like this. So Monograph sued Rekieta Law with all of that. Monograph, with all the people that were going after Rekieta Law at the time, he managed a whopping 18 grand. Now that may sound like a lot, but they didn't get that far into the case before they had to drop it. You know why? Because they ran out of money. And if you don't think that you're going to get cost that, one expert, you need an expert for anything. And I guarantee you'll need an expert for some of the things that you're going to try to claim. An expert, you're talking about 5 to 15 grand. You won't need one, you'll need a few. So that'll be a problem. You think that, again, how much money you think you're going to rack up? They just think that it's like these people believe their own press sometimes, I think they believe, like when they talk about Hales, that somehow he's got some profit scheme. And I do sometimes think they believe that. Like there's somehow, I can tell you what you make on YouTube, and there is no way. Like I can't tell you what he makes in super chats or any deals or anything, but I can tell you, I know pretty well what he would make on videos. I'm not going to say, but I can look at that because I've been around long enough, and I know how much like a 30, 50, whatever, how much those pay. And the amount that they pay versus the amount paid out, no, that doesn't meet up. But at any time for the hearing, a creditor can and will provide detailed documentation of these specific fees and costs. And that's what the courts want. They want a detailed thing. So the creditor is entitled to sanctions under 37D because it didn't appear. So on top of it, again, you've got the costs related, but also there's a penalty. And it's saying, hey, you didn't show up, therefore. So the court may impose sanctions, including reasonable expenses and attorney fees, when a party fails after being served with proper notice to appear for that person's deposition. The rule further provides that a failure to appear is not excused on the grounds that discovery sought was objectionable unless the party failing to act has a pending motion for a protective order under Rule 26C. However, The filing of a motion for protective order does not relieve a deponent. So remember this, when you have to go to the depot and you file the motion for protection, it does not relieve you of your duty to appear at the depot or preclude the imposition of sanctions for failure to appear. That's right. Just because you filed this thing doesn't mean you can't be sanctioned. In fact, you should be sanctioned. Like this, this should be one of the easiest things for a person to understand, right? And yet. So the fact that the filing of a motion for a protective order is necessary to excuse a non-appearance at a depot does not mean that the failure of a motion for a protective order is sufficient to excuse that non-appearance. This means that to be excused from appearing at a notice deposition, they must obtain an order, not just file a motion. That's exactly right. And that's why Saran Wrap showed up. See, you got a problem too. If your lawyer shows up for something that you don't, you have a real problem, you know? You're an idiot to not go in and do what, again, your lawyer knows that they need to be there. I mean, he showed up, for fuck's sake. Like when he's showing up and you don't, God, the message in that is so clear. The principle ensures that parties cannot unilaterally disrupt the discovery process by filing last-minute motions for protective orders. To the extent the debtor failed to appear at a scheduled depot, that failure was not substantially justified. The debtor did not obtain a court order postponing or excusing the depot before the scheduled date. The debtor's filing of a motion for protective order 2 days before the depot without seeking or obtaining a stay or postponement order does not excuse failure to appear. Moreover, the schedule or the circumstances surrounding the motion filing further demonstrate the lack of substantial justification. The debtor admitted that the scheduling conflict was known months in advance, yet took no action to reschedule the depot or seek court intervention until 2 days before the scheduled date. The expenses recovered under Rule 37D include attorney time spent. Again, they go through the whole thing, the documents, examination, coordinating. See, here's the difference with the court reporter. They have additional recovery time, including travel expenses. Yes, he has to actually appear there. So he has any costs that come with travel. You have, again, court reporter fees. So not only do you have the court reporter themselves at the day, but you have to talk to the court reporter. You have to get all of that lined up. So all of that, they just basically gave a big F you to Jeremy Hale's over. And they were telling, again, they fully expected Jeremy Hales to have to eat this cost. That's what Lynette Preston, again, she thought was totally reasonable. And that's what the whole anti-group, they've been shopping. You notice, by the way, Lynette, you are not, like when they talked yesterday, they didn't talk about you despite your problems there. They weren't helping you. They were talking about Leslie and 2L. They're talking about you are no longer the main storyline. You are a secondary component, if that. These people all talked her into going this route. She may lose everything. And she's not even the headline anymore. Like, think about that. Isn't that wild? She thought, I mean, John Cook came out. He celebrated this stuff. He celebrated the idea. Oh, Bruce, great idea. Thanks. They all celebrated this notion. Lynette Preston was told, again, this was her salvation. I hate it for you. To be honest, Lynette, I hate this for you. If you would have taken other people's advice, you wouldn't have gone this direction. But you're too stupid to understand that. Told you about the money and everything else. If you would have gone other people's routes too, you might have recovered some money and kept it. But hey, I digress. What do I know, right? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. And other costs. So Rule 37D serves important purposes beyond mere compensation. It deters similar conduct it deters it from them too, but also from other parties, penalizing the offending party for disregarding discovery obligations, and vindicates the integrity of the discovery process. In this case, monetary sanctions in the form of fee shifting are particularly appropriate. That's right. Making sure, the whole idea of fee shifting, so the debtor's conduct, waiting until 2 days. I wonder what AI says about this. I bet this is a good motion. So I wonder, let me ask AI what it thinks about this one. I mean, like I said, it seems pretty good. So let's see. I'm going to see what it says. It doesn't know that it won. So let's see. Let's see. Yeah, it says actually it's very competent. Yep. What's funny is AI, whoops, so sorry, I didn't mean to turn that off. AI doesn't understand why you repeat a thing over and over, like through this. The reason that there's repetition in this is to drill the notion that this is unfair, to drill the notion that it's mandatory. That's why you have repetition through these. That's why they do a repetition sometimes, and you end up with longer filing. Because again, it's drilling that notion. Hey, this needs to happen. It is unfair, in fact. But the debtor's conduct, again, until 2 days before scheduled depot to seek relief for conflict known months in advance, demonstrates a lack of respect for the discovery process and creditor's legitimate interest. The creditor will provide detailed documentation, again, specific fees and costs incurred as a result of the preparing for the depot and responding to the debtor's motion. This documentation will include itemized billing records showing attorney's time spent in the deposition preparation, receipts for travel, if applicable, invoices for court reporter, and relevant support. So, again, what they ask for. They asked to deny the motion, which they did. That's what's reported anyway. We don't have a filing on it yet, but the funny thing is there was actually a witness there. And they always say, oh, Jeremy Hills is a liar, right? Well, he noted there was a witness there, and he was like, hey, this witness can quote me on what happened. In fact, I liked that idea of a witness being there because these people always claim that everyone else is, they're everyone's lying. Jim is always lying. Well, he was like, hey, there was a person here. Again, I am not by any stretch of the imagination saying that you should be at any hearing. In fact, I say the opposite. I don't think you should be involved in. I think people can break it down for you. You let the parties that are either reporting or involved. And I mean, these people are nasty. They will target your life. They will do all kinds of stuff. So, remember that too. If you ever get involved with anything, when you talk about it, they will target you. Just remember. So the debtor to appear for deposition. So they want an order to make her appear. Lock down a date and say, you got to be here. Because again, they left a caveat open in that motion where they wanted a protective order. They also put in there that John Cook, what was it they said? He was fighting an infection. They said, debtor has additionally been advised that Mr. Cook is presently undergoing further medical evaluation relating to a possible infection and may require additional treatment depending on pending results. So they wanted to move it again. And that's why they're saying, hey, we need not only a decision, but we need a lockdown on this. Award the creditor entitlement to reasonable expenses, which Sounds like that's going on. And also award the creditor entitlement to reasonable expenses. Again, under one, under the other. And like I said, that's what ended up. That's what they argued. So it's very effective. It worked. I think it's a simple argument, but it's an effective argument. Because what they did, I mean, again, if a court told, what's crazy about all the stuff a lot of these people pull is if court told me or you to do something, we'd probably respond, right? I mean, again, there were things I didn't want to do when I was in court, that I thought this is totally inappropriate. This is garbage. But I showed up for stuff. And like I said, a court did some wild things. And when they did that, I was like, this is not right or just. But again, they have the ability to really, I mean, they have the ability to get pissed and do something about it. Again, that's what makes like these Fed cases so brazen. Other courts have been like, this is trash, but those two Fed court cases, they've been a mess. Let's go over super chats now. So give me a second. Let me check my phone first. 1 minute. See if anything came in that way. Oh, my Lord. These people, man. So, Jada noted, thanks for the 20. Graded for $400. Really? Yes. They were asking for $400 just for the filing fee. Again, you think about how bad that is. Because, like I said, they want to file a garbage pro se lawsuit is what it looks like. I say it's a garbage lawsuit. The threats, again, just the things they've stated themselves in the threats, like they were bringing up people supposedly contacting their landlord, for example, right? Well, not only the lies about that, but the fact that they actually have noted contacting sponsors, so they note that these type of contacts are unfair or unjust. They're trying to interfere with something if it had something to do with them, which again, I've told people not to contact anybody anyway, but they tell people to contact. That's stupid. They're telling them to harass businesses. On top of that, again, they got from Megan, I mean, my God, getting an army of people whipped up to try to look up her phone number and her address, which again gets doxxed a few more times in their freaking streams. Ugh. But yeah, that's just for filing fee. That's just a filing fee notice. We're not talking about all the other crap. And, she's got to think too. Some of these cases will go on for a long time. So you're going to tell me that, you're hoping to link up with these people and hoping they stay interested for how many years? They're going to stay around and they're going to help you. God. And to think, I mean, taking the advice of people that, Lord, remember, they've screwed over other people, but they totally won't screw you over, right? Like if things go south, they won't rabbit or just ruin you. And they've done it before. They've gone after you when they thought it was when they thought that there was something to gain. But this time they won't, right? This time. 1 second. All right. But yeah, that's a mess. So Bonnie, thanks for the tip. I'm not helping the channel, I'm helping the war chest. Well, when that need rolls around, that will be something that is straight up, if it ever arises, then that will be something we talk about there. Again, I'm astounded by how dumb some people are. the copyright argument is so funny. I was looking at some stuff that they noted about that from God, what was it in one of the transcripts, and it was kind of, I don't know, it was funny, but at the same time, it's like, you have to be kidding me. Do you really think this is a good argument? You know, transcripts are a crime. You know, I have a fair use disclaimer. They think because, again, they moved something behind a paywall for Megan Fox, and then they shifted it from the paywall thing of like $6 to a paywall thing. Oh, here's another thing. You know, it's interesting that there are multiple people that are claiming they have no money, like John Cook, Leslie. They claim they have no money, but guess what they do have? They have memberships on 2L's channel. And they upgraded their memberships. Great use of money. Oh, lordy. Oh, I mean, imagine that. Imagine too, I thought this was interesting. Lynette Preston, again, she's like, they stole my money. Okay, well, so you're paying membership fees to them? Good job. That's awesome. That is awesome. Lordy. Max Lab, thank you for the super chat there. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Andre, thanks for the too. Here's some get well soon money for Buck. Well, thank you. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, like I said, I'm hoping she is all of that. Hey, 2012, thanks for the heart issues suck. That is all. Yes, they very well do. They do. I agree. I hope you're doing okay, by the way, 2012. As we all, you know, I've learned one thing. Health problems, as we get older, health problems are inevitable. You know, they're the things that if we get old enough to live, so, you know, it's the inevitability. We all go out somewhere, and I just try to roll with them. You know, when they roll up, like I said, I try to look at it and think, well, you know, got another day here. But yeah, I hear you too, brother. So Gina, thank you for the 8 months there. Thank you. And also dropped a gifted membership. Thank you, Gina. I appreciate that. Oh man, and dropped a 10 there. And there is not a statement attached to that tenner, but the statement there is already made in backing. Thank you for your backing. Thank you for that statement. Appreciate you. Polymopicus, thanks for the 2. Seems antis have better immunity than judges. Well, they've managed for a while, you know. I tell you, look at these statements by Leslie, by the way. This is some nutty stuff, dude. I mean, again, you think about this. She didn't just threaten us now. At first, she's already gone after, with this crazy conspiracy that there's cash payments or something. I don't even understand the fun. I mean, you know, you sort through it. But here's Leslie talking about going after any channel and making false IRS claims to any channel that supports the German. All these Hale's YouTubers profiting from the Hale saga, receiving donations, will be next in line to be reported to the IRS. Look, she's flayed out telling people, I'm going to make all of these reports, false reporting to the IRS. You know, again, that's the kind of shit that gets you into some big trouble. I guess she's bragging about making false claims to the IRS. Anybody that covers this, you realize, by the way, jackass, that super chats, all of this money that is there, it generates automatically for a 1099. So it automatically is included. So yes, super chats, they are included just like ad revenue. In fact, YouTube makes no distinction, dipshit. They make no distinction whatsoever. Lord, what a bunch of idiots. I'll tell you what, people, what does make a distinction? The freaking Fed, about, I mean, how many Remember Laura Owens? She was making false claims. You know what they did with Laura Owens? The Fed themselves thought Laura Owens sounded so crazy that they called in a wellness check. The Fed did. She blamed it on other people. She blamed it on people that were watching this play out. But the Fed itself was like, this is crazy, and she's done more than Laura Owens has as far as the crazy that she's reporting. I mean, this stuff just sounds insane. God, it sounds nuts, doesn't it? I mean, when you listen to this, this stuff just sounds loony being loony. I've heard some stupid, weird shit, but this takes the prize. I'm not surprised by any of it. I actually think it's funny because, again, she's proving the point to any court that wants to hear about it. She's retaliating against the people who sued her. Like, this is public retaliation. What an idiot. But she's like, and trust me, it'll be done in the next 6 months. So I hope Germ was worth it for you. All your assets will be investigated. I hope you reported super chats are reported, dipshit. Sponsorship, it happened this year. Fuck yourself. Etc. to the IRS. Like I said, this is not a fight you want, Leslie, but it's one you've already asked for. Remember, she claimed victimhood when she ends up somehow fucking herself out of a job, And now she's again, any channel out there whatsoever, anyone that does not lockstep. Like I said, this right here. I'm to the point where I do not like talking to the police, but I'm wondering if this merits a police call. Because this is, it warrants a Fed contact or something, because she's already filed, we know, 3 federal reports. This is them trying desperately to keep people from covering this subject too. When you get to the point where you're like, nope, nobody can cover this. Anybody that covers it who does not agree, we're going to retaliate against, that's terrible. That's stupid. And she is saying this she is noting this publicly. I cannot believe it. I have the file number, but I'm not allowed to disclose it Yeah, it's just like those investigations by the Fed. She's not allowed to disclose them, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. Like I said, this was very dumb to do publicly, Leslie, because you have admitted. Again, these are the kind of things like Michael should have stepped into the breach and been like, look, you're going to end up, you're already being sued for your conduct already. And you know what she's doing? She's doing more. I sometimes, like I said, I think, man, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And then more dumb stuff rolls around. On this too, with them talking about it, she pulls up, by the way, 2L pulls up some of these chats that she's mentioning. This is them encouraging people to do this. That again is the epitome of harassment. It's so stupid. Oh man, what a bunch of idiots. Andre, thanks for the 2 there. LP can get a fair bankruptcy. Stop giving depots. That's right. Well, again, they said they wanted a court case. All these people were like, they want court case, they want this, they want to be able to talk in front of a judge, tell a judge about this or tell a judge about that. So she has her court case where she said, I want to present all of this evidence. I want to do this. I want to do that. So she has it all. She has the ability 100% to do that. And that's a problem now. E. Poindexter dropped 5 giftos. Thank you, E. Poindexter. Oh man, I like this too. In honor of Rosilla. Yeah, exactly. Keep the laughter going and supporting Tug's addiction to the stupid. Indeed, With Rosilla, the thing that I do want to note in that, first of all, love to Rosilla. But also remember, we don't know how long we get. It's one of those things. We get so many rolls of the dice. Enjoy them. Do the things you want to do. And find things you enjoy. Like I enjoy this. You know, I enjoy laughing at this stupid stuff. So enjoy it. You know, find things that you like if you can. You know, find the things that you enjoy and don't take any of it for granted. And like I said, love to Rizilla. You know, I hated to hear that had happened. I didn't know Rizilla, like personally, I didn't know Rizilla that, but I knew Rizilla from some of the videos that were out there and being in all of the chats and stuff. Again, I enjoyed Rizilla. They're good people. So yeah, for honor them, I like that. Barb, thanks for the 11 months there. Hello, Tug. Well, hello to you too. Appreciate you there. Thank you. Hey, Tizzy. Thank you for the gifto. Hey, there's 2 giftos there. Hope you meant to drop 2 back like that. Thank you for both. I saw Tizzy also has a new video, which I really do want to review. I think that would be fun to go over. Tizzy's videos are always fun anyway. There's a lot to them. You know, that's the thing. None of these people, you remember, they were trying to say, like the video that Tizzy put out talking about the timeline with Barnes and stuff. All of that's a lie. All of that is a lie. The timeline's a lie. What's a lie exactly? You know, but remember, these are people who, again, if you use their own words, they want to sue you. It's so wild, right? Hey, what's up, Just Jay? Thanks for the 5 IRS investigation defense fund. And that's right. It's so funny. She's like, in the last week, I've managed to get the IRS to do this. And it's like, yeah, okay. Again, she has made, and you look at her claims, they are fucking crazy. You know, they are crazy. She's alleging a strange conspiracy about Jeremy Hale's and how he has paid his legal fees. And it sounds absolutely mental. But these idiots encourage people like Leslie got problems, man. And they encourage her to keep going. I would, like I said, if I were Michael, I would be fucking. I used to think, man, Michael can't know about this, but yeah, I think he does. I'm pretty sure he does. He just doesn't do anything about it. He'd rather like eat shit than deal with it. Isn't that wild? Just sit on the sidelines and let people, like, again, do the very thing that proves the case against you. Frankie, thanks for the 5. Philp didn't show up for a depot again. He should be held in contempt and possibly. Yet they decide what they do. Now, jail time is not one of those things that you easily end up at. As you probably noticed by now, jail time, what you would think is a reasonable outcome, you know, like the threats of, oh, somebody's going to go to jail if they, well, that doesn't happen very often. So can they? Yes. Will they? I would be very shocked to see somebody go to jail. Just to be honest, I would be very shocked. But if anybody can manage it, these people may be able to manage themselves right into it. Because again, they do many things that they should not do. Things that just blow my mind sometimes, you know? Like I would think an attorney would be smarter than to do some of the things that I've seen them doing. You know, attorneys, they should know better. But does that stop them from doing things? No. So the reason I note that is because courts get tired of dealing, you know, they get tired of it. They want this stuff to flow easy. They don't want complaints. They don't want to deal with this dumb crap. They want things to flow well. They don't want to know a court. As you've learned from like the Fed cases, the courts do not like it when something does not flow well. And through this, You've already had Lynette. She's been called out by the court. That she's already going to get hit with costs. She might as well just, do what the court is saying. I would not, if she doesn't do it, I'd be stunned. If her lawyers are not already telling her, hey, this is stupid, Lynette. If they're not cautioning her, if they're encouraging this, then again, I think she has an action against them. If she has it in writing where they encourage her to do these kind of things, Lord, that's the thing. If it's true what she said about BBB encouraging her not to attend stuff and to skip out, what a mess. But yeah, can they? Yes. Will they? Ruth, thank you for the 20 there. There's not a statement again, but it is a huge statement. Thank you. Blue Eyes. Yay, Blue Eyes. It is always good to see you. Drop the 10 giftos, man. That is awesome. Thank you for that. Like I said, I very much appreciate it. We have a huge filing that we're going to have to go over with tomorrow. A 64-page filing. It's a big one. It will be very, very interesting too. I think you'll enjoy it. It'll be a discussion about, it's really what it's about. You realize so Leslie did this. There's already an argument about her filings that she put on the record. The ones where she put them on while Michael was still her attorney of record. She filed a bunch of crap. So what did she do before the decision is made whether or not to keep them? She just decided to file 20 more filings again. So she put them all on the record again before that was her, which is absolute insanity. They have flooded their record for this case, and it does not look good. It looks like just sheer fucking lunacy. I'm not stunned by anything anymore, but I am kind of taken aback when they keep. Again, if there's a filing, her thing is do it now, do it now, do it now. Because she was complaining too. They were saying they were going to file. They would include statements about mental health, about people being crazy. Yeah, I stand by. Some of this stuff is absolute fucking insanity. Ugh, it's so nuts. Lorraine, thanks for the 10. It's good to hear you live. I've been without Wi-Fi since we left home Sunday morning until we got to Kentucky today. Some catching up to do. Yeah, well, I hope things are entertaining for you. We had half of a stream yesterday. The only thing that sucks about doing the half streams here, half Rumble, is it really fucks up your viewership numbers. It really cuts them down. So I've even thought about leaving that recording here for a couple of days and then removing it off of YouTube and only having that on Rumble, after everybody's had a chance to watch it. Because you effectively have after a couple of days, a live stream, does it pick up any traffic? Yeah, but not a lot. So I think giving it 2 or 3 days, then leaving those divided ones. I've thought about doing that. I don't know yet, though. But we'll see. Silver Fox, thanks for 5. I would actually just do those completely on Rumble on those days. But I know some people have problems with there. And I haven't figured out a way to get all the audience that to notice them there. But I would like to do some just straight up live streams there. I think that would be good. Like I said, the Rumble has really been, again, they've been trying for anything you say. They have really been trying to make sure that they've been taking feedback and they have been listening to. I've been shocked, because I've dealt with this stuff for a long time. And the feedback I get here versus the feedback I get with their stuff is much different. I like that. I like the fact that, like I said, they have problems, you know. I think a lot of creators never given real feedback to them, though. You know, telling them, hey, this is what needs to be done. I think a lot of people are afraid to do that to platforms, afraid to say, hey, you need to fix. But let's see, Lynette saying she would fight in-person depot. Well, she was there in Zoom, and again, it was agreed upon. I can't believe yes. So she also, that is right. She said that she's going to fight the depot being in person too. Even though her and her attorneys have already agreed to it, she is saying publicly that I'm going to fight it, that my attorneys are going to fight it. First of all, will her attorneys fight it too? You know, again, do they get paid enough to do that? Like, that's my question. Do you think that Saran Wrap is getting paid enough to file more and more and more and more? I'm surprised. Like, I wonder, have they paid him more money? Because there is no way. Like, he wanted more money. You know, and again, I have no idea. I don't know. But I cannot imagine him, if he stays on this without getting paid more money, then he's not the person I was expecting. You know what I mean? I would have thought, like, he seems like a person that, again, you know, he want to get paid. There's nothing wrong with wanting to get paid, by the way. There is nothing wrong with that. I'm not even saying that. It's just, you know, these folks, again, they paid him really well. They really did. They paid him very well, but then they've asked him to do obscene amounts of work. If it were you or I, you know, we wouldn't expect that. Like, Saran Wrap is going to be on this case for the better part of the year. I'm just wondering how much goodwill freaking $6,000 get you. Yeedy, thank you for the 2 there. Make her put up a bond for 2L and lips lost. Well. Yep, that's something they, you know, getting a $50,000 bond against garbage lawsuits. They bragged about how they would force other people to put up a bond if they wanted to sue. Well, that can go both ways. So, wonder indeed. Kitty, thanks for the 32. What's up, Kitty Ninja? Plus Katana, like that. Tug, you missed a birthday song request. Oh no, it didn't show up. No, I'm so sorry. You know what? I apologize for that. Love to you on your birthday. And this is a do-over.
Happy birthday from both of
All of
us to you.
Happy birthday.
May all your dreams come true. Happy birthday.
Yeah, live.
We love to have you here. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Here's to another year.
Let me hear that.
Oh, well, it wasn't me. Come here. But you want to sing happy birthday?
Okay.
I missed a birthday yesterday. That's awful, isn't it? So here, you want to sing for it? You want to sing with this one? Let's play it again. You ready?
Yeah. One, two, three.
Happy birthday from both of us to you. May all your dreams come true. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
We love to have you here. Happy birthday. Here's to another year.
All right. You want to sing the birthday song too? You want to sing happy birthday? Somebody? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear. Oh, close. Janice, it's happy birthday to you. Close. Very close. That's good. I love it. They'll love it too. Thank you. All right. Appreciate you. That was very good.
How many times do you have?
Only a couple more. So hey, go upstairs. I gotta finish them up.
What's
I'm
up?
almost done.
Chicken butt.
What's up, chicken butt? What?
Cause you are chicken butt.
What? No way.
And you play Zelda.
I know I play Zelda. I play Zelda a lot. Hey, go upstairs. Go.
You listen too hard.
Yeah, I play it while I play live streams. But hey, go upstairs. Love you.
I know. I think you want some.
She's so funny. All right. Let's see. Thanks for the 10. Any chance Doritos is letting Lips get in trouble. So she got to go to prison or institutionalized. I would not claim something like that. You know, I don't know why, though. Again, some of these actions put him in jeopardy. Again, when he said on like I said, he said on a live stream as their attorney of record and made horrible claims and admitted while he was doing that he did no research at all. I mean, again, he's their attorney of record and he does that. You know, the funny thing about that too is despite that, I didn't file a bar complaint or anything. You know, I had not done that because I was like, well, but guess what? They have tried to weaponize false complaints so much. I don't see why I wouldn't do that. And those are the kind of complaints, again, they know better than to do that kind of stuff. They know. Because when you put it all together, it looks like retaliation for lawsuits. That would absolutely be what I tell the bar to. I mean, look at these folks. They're doing everything from claiming, they go after the IRS, they go to the FBI, they claim people are child groomers. I mean, at what point should the bar step in and be like, hey, this is a problem? He was part of that. So it very much looks like retaliation, not just from her, but from him. So I don't know how you don't make that argument, Emma, thanks for the 34 months. I haven't been chatting the past couple of months, but I still watch when I can. 2 more months till 3 years. That's wild, Emma. Yeah, I really, because in July, you're going to say that'll be awesome. I've been looking forward to that. And I realize, you take your time, you do whatever. And you folks, life gets in the way, man. And these things that we're talking about, when we started this thing, this was years ago. So we've been looking at this thing for years. Obviously, people's life, you're going to have things that go on, things go back and forth. It's just, you're going to have a lot of changes in that time. And that's okay. That is absolutely okay. But we are always welcome and appreciated. Faux show. Silver Fox, thanks for that. I laughed when Jeremy said her lawyer was there on Zoom for the depot and she did not appear and he has his kids with him. So they all said, yeah, well, I mean, isn't that wild though? Like he has to bring his, he has to have his kids like looked over and stuff while it puts other people out. Like I would be so pissed again if I were her lawyer and I didn't know, if again he is not aware of what she's going to do, it reflects on him as a professional. Like regardless of what I think about any of his filings and stuff, this stuff reflects on him and it can ruin him as a practitioner. And he doesn't need that kind of shit. So, Irish Lace, thank you for the 20 months there. Feel better soon, but well, thank you. I'll tell her. I'll read that. She'll love the positive message. All right, I'm ending here. Tomorrow we'll be back. Megan's gone, like I said. We got plenty to catch up on. There's so much filings in this stuff. So tomorrow will be really good, though. You'll enjoy it. So anyway, I'll see you then. Appreciate you.